On the agenda tonight, we're going to be taking a look at John Denver, and he's going to be performing Annie's song. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, we're going to be taking a look at John, and as always, we're going to be having the vocal pitch monitor up on screen so we can see his voice as a yellow line, but we'll probably jump into a little bit more than just his singing voice in this video because it's such a great live performance all round. But let's jump into it and see how John and the band get on.
You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you, let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. Let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. Sing it with me. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again.
And there we have it. I mean, what a great live performance that was. And of course, we've got John here playing the 12-string guitar because he had that ability to play, sing at the same time, and write a hell of a song, by the way, because what a song this is. I mean, it's so seemingly straightforward, and the chord progression kind of cascades. It takes you up and down, and we probably will get the guitar out in a minute just to show a few things. But the way that we start out with the mandolin, just doing double time strumming, really simple but so effective. And then when we're looking at John's voice on the screen, because we can do that, you can see how he's so accurate, you know, pitch wise. But when I say that, nowadays, this performance, I guarantee, would not be allowed to go through like this. And what I mean is that every live performance, every TV performance, it's always post-edited. Even the performances that go out live, if there was something wrong with a particular performance, it would then get edited before the repeat of the show, or before a show then got released, either on DVD or the official YouTube video being uploaded. And I mean, I've actually had cases in the past where people that I've known have seen performers live on a TV show, and the TV show is recorded but in front of a live audience. So they said that they saw a particular artist performing, and halfway through the song they just totally messed it up and forgot what they were doing, and the band stopped playing, and people weren't really sure what to do because the person that I knew was in the audience, and he said it was a little bit awkward, but they just moved on to the next part of the TV show. So when the show was then released a few days later, he was watching and he saw the artist starting to perform, and then he thought, oh, this is going to be awkward that they've left this in where he totally messes it up. And sure enough, the whole performance was faultless. So what they had done is, after everyone had left the studio, they've re-recorded a take of that performance and then edited it in to make it seem like that was done in front of the audience, and obviously put in the cheering and the clapping and all that kind of stuff, mix that into the performance so then it looks like it was live. And of course the presenter would have been there for this second take and then would have said, ladies and gentlemen, amazing, thank you for coming in and performing. But all of that is done in front of nobody, and they edit in the crowd noise and the applause. So going back to this video, this would not be allowed through in this form because, I mean, it just sounds great, but because in a few sections John's voice is ever so slightly flat, and that would undoubtedly be pitch corrected if this is released as an official video. It's on his official channel, and this is what's great about the artists that were around years ago or years before technology started to take over. You get performances like this that are live, with everyone playing their instruments, with a live vocal, and it hasn't been edited, so you get to appreciate the quality. But we'll just listen in to John's vocal isolated.
My senses like a night in the forest.
And that, not that you're going to really notice this during the performance, but that like a night in the forest, that B3, we're ever so slightly flat, but it doesn't matter. And look out for this really even, consistent vibrato, something that I've mentioned about John's voice in the past.
Like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain.
It's this rain, rain. It's got a perfect wobble to it. And it's actually relatively fast, but it just flows. It's so easy to listen to. And I mean, a lot of the reason musically why that is, that it just seems to slip into your ears and it's not offensive at all, is because of the range that the vibrato covers. If we were to put this over the line, you'd see how we're pretty much only getting about 50 cents worth of vibrato here. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about the distance between these lines is 100 cents. So if you imagine that this, nowadays, like I said, this would be corrected and moved up over this line, the C#4, but if you imagine how far above and below these lines would go, it would be about halfway between this line and halfway between this line and this line. It would be perfectly over but not cover a lot of pitch. So the less pitch we cover, the more subtle the vibrato is, which means the less of a statement it's going to make. Now, having said that, when somebody's got a really fast and infrequent vibrato, and I'm talking about frequency here, so when instead of going na na and having those na, those points all being even, if somebody went na na and they were kind of all stuttery like that, then it just wouldn't sound very good, and it might not cover a wide range, but the frequency is everything. When you pair frequency with the subtlety of this vibrato, it's just so easy to listen to. It really does flow. So when you compare this vibrato to other singers who have a more dramatic sound, it's because their vibrato is covering more pitch, and it's almost multiplied when you slow it down. It becomes even more dramatic. So in this case, if I went senses and did a slower, wider vibrato, it's almost like now with this performance, the instrumentation becomes almost like a show in the background. It's now not as relevant because the voice is dramatic. It's taking all of your attention. But in this song, the last thing you want is to get rid of all the instrumentation. It's like, you know, everything is together here. It's perfectly on the same page from a dynamic perspective, but musical perspective as well. With John's voice, it all matches perfectly. And even to the point where that mandolin doing the double time strumming at the beginning, that just sits in there so subtly, but you know, it almost has that sound of a fast vibrato, or at least the frequency of it. But that, it's all about the subtlety of having that in there. Of course, it's not high in the mix. It just sits in there just really nicely. And instrumentally, this is just spot on throughout the whole performance.
Like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fit.
And again there, F sharp 3. Motion. It started a little bit flat, and then went up to the note. Again, that's something that they would try and correct that before releasing this performance on TV. But let's get back into it again.
Fill up my senses, come fill me again, come let me love you, let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms.
And there, great example, and good example here of the freedom of the voice just being slightly flat of the D4. But again, look at how tight this vibrato is, but importantly, the frequency just being really nice and even.
Let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again.
I was just about to say, listen to that flute, and of course we can see it on screen, but again, the vibrato that you get in the flute and all of the instrumentation here, but it's such a huge part of the flute sound being relevant to what's going on with all of the other instruments, but the vibrato that John's got in his voice, we've got that similar approach from the flute.
Let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. Sing it with me. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest.
It's great when you listen to this mix because you can hear the strings really clearly. You've got the mandolin still in that right channel. And the voice is just sitting on top of all of it, but it's all so relevant to each other here. Something else to mention just before I get into any chords, it's not going to be an instructional video, but like I've already said, I love the way that these chords seem to cascade down the fretboard. But anyway, with John's 12-string guitar, he's probably detuned his low E strings, because there are two of them, down to Ds. So this is a bit of a giveaway. When he does the shapes, he kind of comes over with his second finger and third finger on the low D string, as it would be, but the A string as well. So I've already mentioned, if you're playing this on acoustic guitar in the intro, you can go with that kind of feel. But it's then when we get into the verse and the chorus, we've got chords that are moving the whole time. We've got this G, A, B minor, G, D, and then we've got this C sharp, rundown, B minor, A, G, F sharp minor, E minor, G, A, and I think we've got a kind of sus4 that's thrown in there. And then I think we're doing the same thing again. B minor, A, G, F sharp minor, E minor, A, D. And because it's in 3/4, the time signature, it means that you're changing all the time, literally every bar, and every bar is one beat shorter because it's 3/4 rather than 4/4. So that means we're going 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, like that. So it's certainly involved from a chord change perspective, so there's a lot going on in the background, but you don't really notice this at all because it is so easy to listen to, and because, you know, John's voice is really what you focus on, considering he's doing all of these changes as well. And I mean, we'll watch it again so you can take a little look at his hand while he's playing, see the kind of movement we get.
You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again.
So just counting along with those changes, again, it's just something that's made to look so easy. And the way that he kind of flows from his shapes, I mean, the flute is just great as an instrument, but here, listen to how subtle the vibrato is, because with the flute you can get quite an obvious vibrato, but here it's so intentionally subtle, just so it all blends together perfectly.
Like a sleepy blue ocean, you fill up my senses, come fill me again.
The great thing about this performance is that you can literally focus in on any instrument and it's there in the mix for you, and you don't always get that with live performances and TV performances, especially when they're actually playing the instruments. Of course, on TV nowadays it's pretty much always exclusively a backing track, and then the band set up exactly like this, so it looks like it's live, but it's a backing track playing. So of course you can hear everything clearly because they're not actually doing it. But getting everything mic'd up and getting the mix this good, I mean, even back when this was filmed, it's a rare thing to get a great live performance from the band and the singer and to get the mix just spot on. But, you know, you can listen to this the whole way through and focus in on, you know, just the mandolin if you wanted to on the right hand side, or just on the 12-string guitar. Another great thing that John does here is play it dynamically. If you've got headphones on, then that'll just make it even clearer. But yeah, what a great live performance here. Always great to have a look at John Denver and his vocal, because he's so good at hitting pitches. But this video just goes to show that even a great singer like John didn't hit the lines all the time, but that's where the expression comes in, and that's where great singers and great artists need the freedom to express themselves vocally, and sadly it's something that's not really allowed anymore nowadays. But thank you guys for suggesting, requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. As always, keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!